Okay, we are live. Welcome everyone to this October community call. We're super excited to welcome everyone. This will be a less than 1 hour live stream, and as we're doing every time, this is this 1 hour where we're resuming and we're kind of like explaining. We're having some spotlight sessions, and we just have everything around MetaMask and MetaMask ecosystem updates. So welcome everyone. With me, I have Ayush again co-hosting. Ayush, it's a pleasure to co-hosting this session with you. Do you want to quickly introduce yourself?
Hi everyone, Ayush here. So I lead the dev for the MetaMask Smart accounts, or you might also know as Delegation Toolkit. So pleasure to be here again.
Nice, nice. Yeah, it's great. I'm super excited to have this session. There are different kind of like things that we want to go through, but I would say again, quick housekeeping, guys. Like if you have any question during the each of the block, if there's a session, feel free to ask them in the chat here in the bottom right. And also, like always, our door are always open if you need any support or anything related to MetaMask developer tooling or just ecosystem grow. So exciting and let's dive in. So, what are we going to talk about today? Thanks so much, Ayush, for sharing this agenda. So we'll do a quick round of like intro, why we're doing these calls and why it's so important for us and for all the community to understand what is happening around our ecosystem. And then we have a couple of like spotlight session when and this time we invited Javier Donoso on. Actually, like we're working a lot with the Gelato team and will give us a quick intro around MetaMask Smart account with Gelato Bundler. So that will be an exciting session, 10 minutes max, and always again feel free to ask question. And for I see already some question here from the chat. Today result we announced the hackathon. So I don't think so. We are still handling judging. I don't know if you have any updates, but I think like we will update folks later. And yeah, this hackathon was crazy. By the way, was very full of insights, and a lot of people were hacking. And then the third part of the session, we will have Ayush actually explaining and giving like a quick live demo. Obviously, the demo gods will be with us on ERC 7715. There are different updates on that side. And then we will have a quick fireside chat with EG and Max around Amy and on Dean. So that was a quick announcement, and we just want to kind of like digest this announcement, gaining more insights about this move, and it's great to have two high caliber actually in this MetaMask community call. And then, least but not the least, we will have Yash. This time will be on a remote basis, giving us an update around Builder Hub. As many of you saw, we launched finally the Builder Hub. This is an avenue where we can discuss and kind of like share what everybody's building. If you have insights, you can post. If you have questions, you can post. But most important is for everything builder, founder, dApps owner wise, a road to kind of like expose what they're building, but most important, asking question around products, around general like builder funnel, and very exciting. And we will have Yashi prepared like a remote video right now. He's on his flight, and it's just a quick couple of minutes recording. So that we can actually like have an insight of what Builder Hub is all about. So Yash, so Ayush, what's your kind of like favorite session so far? I'm always asking this question at the beginning and the end.
I think I'm excited about the Hemi network. It's like first time I'll be going through like how like you can access the Bitcoin state and everything. So quite excited to learn about like what we can do with the Hemi and for also for the MetaMask ecosystem. So yeah, looking forward to the session. Also, the funny part is like we have been like having Yash like in every community call last kind of 3 to 4 1 where like he's having the guest appearance, but this time also we'll have him like as a virtual Yash in the call, which is like kind of funny.
This is good, is good, is good. Yeah, this guy needs to be somehow in the community call. So bringing actually like a virtual YouTube recorded session, I think is definitely like make a good like spot. And I think like we will definitely have a part two of this. we already see a lot of like question and insights incoming. All our new guides and tutorial that we are posting both in the docs and in different section are also like previewed in the Builder Hub. And I think there are different updates that we're very excited also to announce in the future. Okay, so without further ado, let's get started. So for the people out there that never be in a MetaMask community call. So the reason why we're doing this is mostly to touch on everything MetaMask and everything MetaMask community. So we're inviting ecosystem player to demo and discuss what they're building in relation to everything MetaMask. But most important, we're just inviting builders. We are organizing a lot of like those virtual and IRL hackathons, and a good way for showing what you're building is that inviting those hackathon winners and dApps winners to present what they're building and really showing what everyone has been building during the past month. And I think time frame wise, these are happening always at the end of the month. But most important, like is showing and having this hour for also like for you to show what you built, but also like for us to see and showing what we have been shipping so far. And I think the reaction has been always very positive, and we're combining this with different specific like spotlight session. There is some live coding session that are happening. We have also some ecosystem highlights live stream during the months. I think we also did some workshop during the virtual hackathon, Ayusha. The demo gods were with us, I think, this time on the delegation side. But yeah, and the goal here is really like to have this open door and have everyone interact and showing like how vibrant the community is right now. And we have different kind of like backlog ideas. We want to bring more also like 8004 specific topics. There is a different like things, and a lot of updates are coming, and different hackathons are happening. And for anybody here also like planning to come to Dev Connect or like Solana Breakpoint, we have a lot of like things that will starting to happen this quarter. And what else? Do I missing something, Ayush?
I think the amazing partners we have in the MetaMask ecosystem, like Gelato and Hammy, we have like right now on our call, and like it's so funny. Like we have so many partners that we don't even like that people don't know that they can build with the MetaMask ecosystem, and this calls basically help other developers to know like what are all the possibilities to do with the bigger ecosystem. It's basically like
Yes.
apes are stronger together.
Oh yes, 100%. And I think this space is everything around community, and I think having a two-side way to distribute not just content but also to show what you're building to the community. It's the most powerful things that we can have, and I'm learning so much also just going through these community calls, and it's great also to have such an high caliber. Okay, I would say let's dive in. So we will invite Javier right now on explaining us a bit around, how Gelato Bundler and Smart Account are working together. So Javier, welcome on stage. It's a pleasure to have you here. Do you want to quickly introduce yourself?
Yes, of course. Thank you. Thanks for having me here. So, hello everyone. I'm Javier. I'm leading the dev team at Gelato, and today I'm going to present how we can work together with the MetaMask Smart account and our Bundler and Paymaster, and why we need a Bundler and Paymaster. What is a Smart account altogether with ERC 4337 or EIP 7702? Let's deep dive in a second, and of all of these concepts, because it is the first time that you hear these concepts, it can be a little bit of confusing. So let me share my screen.
Yes. Before you start, Javier, I also want to say it's great to meet a fellow Devrel in a MetaMask community call. So it's exciting to have this session here.
Thank you, Francesco, for inviting me. So first of all, what are smart accounts? We know, and I will try to go fast, but to clarify the concepts. So a smart account is when we have an EOA, a wallet, a user that can be created with MetaMask or Privy or Web3 Auth or Dynamic. So it creates a smart contract account that interacts with the target contracts. So this was the beginning of the smart accounts, and this allow us different things like batching transactions, like private key recovery. We have different accounts there in the market since long time, Safe, Kernel, Alchemy, now MetaMask. So this is how all started with the smart accounts. So although this had a lot of improvements, still the user need to have is to interact with the chain, need to have native token. It happens that when you go to a new chain, maybe you breach some USDC for things that you need to do, but maybe you don't have native token. So what happened then? The ERC-4337 came to the rescue. And you see that now the diagram is a little bit more complex. So we have our wallets, we have our smart contract wallets, but the user does not interact directly like before with the smart contract wallet and the target contract. It goes through the bundler. And what does the bundler does? What it does is it's extract away how you pay the gas for the chain. So mainly here you are sending a request to someone that will check whether is someone that is going to pay for you and is going to send the transaction into the chain to the smart contract and the target contract. All of this happen on chain. So you can see that it has big on-chain footprint, but give you these two features which are very, very interesting for the users. So once you can send transactions without paying for gas, if the protocol that gives you access is sponsoring for you the transactions, and second, it abstracts the gas. So it can also allow you to pay with any ERC20 token that you have in your smart contract wallet for the gas. So this is already a major step. And what we are talking now, what we are talking about 7702 using ERC-4337. And this is actually what is important right now. Right now, your EOA, you can delegate to a smart account. So you can send a specific transaction that tells that the EOA will have delegated some code in the transaction in your basically you will have attached a smart contract account to your EOA. So all of the things that we have seen before, it can be used, but you don't have a EOA and a smart account. You don't need to transfer your assets from the EOA to the smart account. You basically have the smart account and the EOA in one place. So, and you have then the benefits that message send that is equal the wallet address, and you can also use all of the benefits of 4337. So mainly to have sponsored transactions or to pay for transactions with ERC20 in your wallet. So sometimes we see like what is better, ERC-4337 or EIP-7702, or ERC-4337 versus 7702. No, actually, it's not either or. You can have your 7702 delegation to the smart contract wallet like MetaMask that we will see later, and you can use 4337 to allow your users to interact with the blockchain without paying gas or paying with ERC20. These are the two concepts that should remain. All of this, it helps users to interact with the blockchain without paying gas if the protocol is sponsored, or to pay with different ERC20. We have prepared two demos for this session. As we don't have so many time, I'm not going to live demo, but we can send afterwards the repo with the two demos if you want to test it. One is using Web3 auth and MetaMask and using the 4337 path without 7702. And the second one is dynamic, also with MetaMask, but in this case, delegating the code, so 7702. We can see already a difference that with Web3 auth we have our EOA and our smart account, and in dynamic we only have an EOA because we are delegating to the smart account. So if I have a look into this address, you will see in this phase of in this part of the Explorer that we see here delegated to this address. This is the MetaMask the MetaMask delegator address. And now every time that I send a transaction, a user operation from here, I will go through the EOA and through the smart account. So what we also are going to test is we're going to do a swap. So we're going to do a swap in one transaction because we are batching the transactions and we don't need to transfer to the smart account over assets because we have 7702. Smart account is equal to EOA. So we can swap the USDC and we will see it doesn't take long that the transaction is successful. So we were able to do our approve and swap in one batch transaction without gas because we are sponsoring this transaction for our users. So in this example that I'm going to now share the code, you will see how easy it is to achieve these all of these features. So this is the part of the dynamic one. We have here the authorization. This is what it is required to delegate to a specific smart account. Here we create our smart wallet client, and we can already see here that we are passing the MetaMask delegation address and the entry point. We are using the 0.7. The entry point is what we saw in the chart before, where all of the requests that support 4337 are through this contract, and it has the same address on every chain. So this is how we create the smart wallet contract, and then when we see here, we can see how we prepare the calls. Both here we batch the calls. Here we say that it's going to be a sponsor, and here we sign the user operation and we send the prepared calls. So you have seen with these 10 lines of code plus the 10 lines of code that we saw before when I instantiate the Gelato Smart Wallet, we can see all of the amazing features that we add to our application. Basically, we add them the ability for your users to do batch transactions without paying gas and being the EOA the same as the smart contract account. Actually, I could use more time and live demo, but I think the major ideas of what is it for what we need the bundler and what is the usage of it are clear in the demo. Do you have some questions, things that I will that you will need that I clarify more in detail, or I go more in detail through?
I think that was like amazing demo, like how you showed like both options of using a smart account via 7702 and the 4337. What do you think about the 7702 inclusion in the Pactra upgrade? Like how has it improved the usability for the wallets?
Yes, and we see we come from a long time with sending transactions on behalf of the users. We started with Relay, and Relay always needed some kind of adjustment in the contracts because at the end of the day, we are sending on behalf of someone, and we are sending the message.sender is not the user. So and it was always needed some kind of configuration. When we demo 7702 with Valnar, all of the users, all of the protocols and customers are really amazed because you start to really stop the friction that the users have when interacting with the blockchain, and you don't even realize what is happening behind the scenes. The only thing that you realize is that even you can log with a social login, and boom, you don't have to do anything more. Everything happens behind the scenes. You don't need to buy native token in some exchanges that you don't know actually for what the usage is. We know because we are working in Web3, but for Web2, maybe this is the first step in this direction.
Talking about like Web 2, I think like it also decreases the cost that you would require to deploy a smart account contract with 4337. And with Sense02, you can basically do a 21,000 limit that we do, like sending a dummy transaction to like any address, zero token to self transfer, and like pass in the type 4 authorization, and it's done. So also the gas required is very competitive less.
Yes, indeed. And actually, maybe because I'm part of the game, but I find it very elegant. When you see the code that is associated to the EOA, you see the EF 000 and the address. So immediately you know you are delegating to one address. You know which smart account are you using, and I think actually very, very interesting that now even the Explorer show you what is the delegation, the contract delegation, what is the how when it was done the authorization. It's actually very powerful.
Definitely.
Exciting, and I think yeah, we shared also in the chat the docs part on 7702 versus 437. And I think, I mean, independent to the demo goals were with us. I mean, Javier, thank you so much for sharing also the demo. It's, I think, like recreating this also like at home is something that would be super useful. And if you have also any links in the future, like feel free to share. We're also looking forward to see you guys more also in some of the next live stream on what's proceeding and what's coming next. So thank you so much, Javier, for coming and presenting this in the MetaMask Community Call in this October.
Thank you very much.
Awesome. Okay, sounds good. So after this session here, I think like we are on a huge session here on 7715. So we want to kind of like I think like you wanted to show a bit like around what is and how you can actually use and leverage 7715 on some specific use case. So here is your floor. You should go for it.
I think I'll have to reshare my screen just because like I wanna do the demo on a different window. But I think like this session like elevates what we talked about in the last session, like 7702 MetaMask Smart Account, and 7715 internally kind of depends on like 7702 MetaMask Smart Account, because then we have like power of doing delegations, which was one of the core feature of like MetaMask Smart Accounts, right? So I'll do a quick demo, like what is 7715 and like what you can do with it. Let me share my screen.
Sounds good.
I hope this is now visible.
Yes, we can see it.
Yeah. So like consider like right now when we are talking about like AI agents, right? Like one of the hurdle that we face is like you need to transfer the funds from like your extension wallet or external wallets to a embedded wallet that agent is using. And with 7715 that can be basically eliminated, because now your agents can directly work on the top of MetaMask extension, where you can give your agents like permissions to use tokens on your behalf. So for example, like how it looks like, it will like there will be session account. Consider this session account is basically your agent account, and now basically I will grant permission to this session account via MetaMask extension. And if you can see, I hope the screen is visible, where it says like need to token periodic transfer. That means like I'm giving the agent to like pull like 0.001 ETH every day, and I can basically change it to weekly or other as well. I can like modify the amount I want permission to given to the agent. I can edit the expiry as well, like how long these permissions are valid. And once I grant, I confirm it. It's basically signatures. Basically everything is happening off chain. Like there is no transaction involved over here.
We can see it. Yeah.
And yeah, so now once we have the permissions, what you can do is like now this agent basically can use this permission to basically do a transaction on behalf of like my external account, which is like this one. And if you see like the address, right, it's same, the smart account address. And I have already like updated this to a 702 smart account, which you can do in the extension on Sepolia. So now we'll try to do a redeem permission using this one, and we'll transfer some amount of ETH. And also this transaction has been sent by like session account, not the external one. And that's it. You can see it on like Explorer. Let's wait for a few seconds. I hope demo gods are with us.
There with us, yeah. Let's see. Etherscan should be.
Voila. That's it. That's it. So now you can also, if you go in the state, you can see like the value has been decreased and increased from the accounts, and we can also see like it will take a couple of time to get the logs as well. So in the logs, we can also see like there will be redeem delegations function called on like my external MetaMask smart account. Let's see, I don't think it's here yet, but yeah, you can also check those logs, and you will be able to see like whatever like smart contract actions happen behind the scene. And yeah, if you want to learn more like how you can do this, it's basically like this line of code. Once you have like connected with like MetaMask wallet, you can basically use the request execution permissions, and you can define the like type of permission you want, whether you want the native token or the ERC20 token. You can define the token address for ERC21, define the amount, define the period duration, like what is the period duration where like agent can pull the tokens from your account, and also justification. And that's it. That's all you need to do to get the permissions for an agent. And then your agents will be able to directly interact with like MetaMask extension users without having them to transfer the funds to an embedded wallet, which is kind of very cool, I think so.
It's very cool. And usually, like, if I want to also like add 402 for transaction implication, I mean, in theory, it's quite straightforward, right? I can delegate the permission and release the payments, for example. Yeah.
Yeah, like you can do it. So there is also in the, if you go into the X402 and right, if you can see the roadmap, right, there is also one of the thing that they want to do is like add 7710 ERC support. So once like ERC 7710 is supported in the X402, it basically will work seamless. As of now, if you want to do, you can do it, but there will be a lot of code you need to write it. And once like there is in support for 7710 in the X402, it will work like a charm. No need of writing a huge amount of code. You can directly pass the permissions and redeem it.
Nice. Yeah, it's exciting. And I think like especially in the agent economy, you will still need to push more permissions. Like in general, like what's your experience? What other like use case apart agents you see the permission delegation being done right now?
Even in the normal DeFi use cases, like remember, like if you wanna work use the Hyperliquid, right?
Mhm.
Or if you want to do the limit ordering, you still need to like have an embedded account, like you need to pass your funds. And even if it's not an agentic kind of an app, it's just a normal DeFi app that like a lot of people use, and we know like how the transaction volumes on like this kind of apps are like. And imagine like where they can basically ask the permission to use your tokens, instead of saying that okay, you need to transfer the funds from your account to like this XYZ embedded account, and then we'll use the XYZ embedded account to like do all the things for you. And they kind of need it, because like when you do like you set like take profit or stop loss, they need to execute those permissions, right? Like, and that's why they kind of need an embedded account. But with sensible permissions, they can remove that barrier as well and improve the user experience.
Nice, nice. Yeah, exciting. Yeah, especially because the permission also are happening in the background, right? And it's a much more cleaner way to define permission on chain. And yeah, I definitely like see the use case. What are the things that you feel like developers kind of like, the challenges that they have at the beginning to understand those permissions on the smart account side?
I think like this is like fairly new. I don't think any wallet as of now supports like Sense and 1.5. It has been like a long it has
Hmm.
came.
Hmm.
Like why we chose 7.1.5 was to do delegation, was like delegation itself, if you are not handling it properly as a developer, it can impose like security risk, where like if you don't pass any like restrictions on the delegation, basically anyone can access the account of the user. And we never wanted that to happen. We wanted users to know what they're giving permissions for, and we don't
Hmm.
want like users to like say like hey, give permission to this hex address, this is the data, hex data, that they don't even know how to decode or what to do. And that's why we chose like Sense and 1.5, where the users can basically read what they are giving permission for, and also can edit, because users should have the like power to do what they want to do, what
Hmm.
permissions they want to give. And I think it's pretty cool, like we are entering into the new user experience era.
Yes, agree. And I think also control the permission through like a dashboard or like a specific things will be also very powerful. Um, Yeah, I think people sometimes are kind of like also like afraid to understand this kind of like too much generalized agent permission. They want to specify which permission you want the agent to give, or just the permission to what the specific kind of like move need to do. So yeah, exciting. And I think like you're already coming with different like tutorials and guides. There is some already in the docs, and I think like because of the Builder Hub, we will start also pushing more tutorials. And if you guys have any use case, you're hearing this, you wanna first adopt, you're working on the 402, you want to start using smart accounts and delegations. Ayush is always like here. I think he's permanently also online, like some of us, and they're always like happy to respond.
Also, like I just want to say, like we are looking for the launch partners for ERC Extension 1.5. So if you want, like being a launch partner will be able to support you, give you the marketing push you want. So if you are a DApp, a protocol who thinks like Extension 1.5 are a really cool use case for you, feel free to reach out to us. We are happy
Sounds
to
good.
collaborate.
Sounds good. We have also like some question. I think like this is just a follow up. Can you drop the repo link? Try delegation during the activation hour. So I think like this is something that we can share also like later on the repo link. We're also planning another specific smart account like MetaMask Dev Cook-Off with the different partners. So that would be also an exciting time to rehack on permissions.
Definitely.
Sounds good. Sounds good. I think like we are good in timing. Now we can go back to our agenda. So thanks so much, Yush, for doing that. I think now our kind of like fourth part of this community call, it's speaking about DIN and speaking about Hemi Network. I hope I pronounced it correctly. So let's welcome EG and Max on the call. Let's see. Let me untoggle and toggle everyone. So welcome, EG. I think like today Restream is struggling a bit with the names because I cannot see your title and names, but I think we can kind of like solve it with a quick round of intro. Again, Max, welcome. You want to quickly introduce yourself?
Sure, after you, Max.
Oh, I think we cannot hear you.
There we go, mute, sorry.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, so I'm Max Sanchez, I'm the CTO of Hemi, and so what we're building is basically a Bitcoin and Ethereum L2, and so it sits between both networks, it connects to both of them, it has awareness of both of them, and what we're trying to do, especially, this is a developer call, so from a developer perspective, what you can build with this, it's building new types of Bitcoin-aware applications that can also interact with the entire Ethereum ecosystem. So people have probably heard of approaches like Bitcoin header relay, things like that from 5-10 years ago, and they give you very limited introspection into what's happening on Bitcoin. And so what we did is we embedded a Bitcoin full node inside of our EVM, so your smart contracts can be written in Solidity, function the way everyone expects them to function, but they can also get access to and talk to they can get access to Bitcoin data and then talk to Bitcoin, use Bitcoin assets as well.
Nice, exciting. AG next.
Yeah, and I'm EG. I'm one of the co-founders of Infura. I've been working on Infura since the beginning 9 years ago, and about 3 years ago started working on the decentralized version of Infura. If you followed the Ethereum and Web3 space for a long time, you'll have seen that over the years people have asked for some version of Infura to exist that's more of a protocol, more of a network, and that's what we've been working on. So it's called DIN, the Decentralized Infrastructure Network. We presented it in DevCon in Bogota in 2022 and been working on shipping it incrementally over the last 3 years. So we're now live supporting over 24 different networks, and Hemi is our latest network that we've added to DIN. So we're going to talk a little bit about that today.
Exciting. So, I mean, big news, Hemi Network on DIN. I would say let's take maybe a step back here, Max. You want to kind of walk us through like what is Hemi and kind of like why it matters for developer in the MetaMask ecosystem?
Yeah, for sure. So MetaMask is traditionally very EVM focused. You guys recently added Solana, and so this is sort of a way to expand into more Bitcoin programmability, being able to build applications that interact with Bitcoin natively or use the tunneled version of Bitcoin called Hemi Bitcoin on our network to build more Bitcoin-centric DeFi. And so we have what we call the HVM, or the Hemi Virtual Machine. And that's basically an EVM plus that Bitcoin node like I talked about. So now you can build these new applications that look at, say, the Bitcoin UTXO set or Bitcoin transaction activity. And so you can start to build these new, more Bitcoin native applications. And so you can build things like, non-custodial lending protocols, non-custodial Bitcoin dexes. And then we're also working on some new technology based on BitVM, but taking advantage of some of our Ethereum connectivity to basically combine Ethereum and Bitcoin security together to make a more secure composable BitVM-based vault system. And so you can use that once we launch it, not just for being able to tunnel a bridge, we call it tunneling, tunnel assets over from Bitcoin to our network securely, but you'll also be able to use that to make really interesting Bitcoin DeFi primitives.
Exciting. Always feel free to jump in, both EG and Ayush, with question. I'm just continuing a bit. So on the DIN side, EG, so how DINs helps Amy and the developer community to push this narrative?
Yeah, really getting access to a new network that's launching like Hemi is important for developers. Whenever something new gets introduced in the infrastructure stack for Web3, people immediately try to find who are the providers that can help serve that data, who can they rely on. And that discoverability problem is one of the things that DIN solves by being a marketplace protocol where people can list their services. So somebody that's a provider of Hemi, RPC, and other API services can list themselves on the marketplace. Developers and developer tooling can integrate with that on-chain registry to be able to discover and consume those services. And being a marketplace, we're not prescriptive about what types of tokens and methods of payment providers accept. We're building rails within that support different ways of paying for those services. One being a streaming payment through Superfluid as like a streaming model of paying for services. Another one being our integration with X402. If people have been following the developments in the X402 ecosystem and how excited people are about that enabling agentic commerce and consumption of API services, we launched an X402 gateway back in August for people to consume JSON RPC services. So whereas before you would have to go to the Infura site, put in your credit card and sign up, get an API key to start using any of the dozens of networks that Infura provides, with this X402 gateway, you can now just use the X402 protocol with a funded wallet with USDC and immediately start using any of those networks, including Hemi. So I can drop a link in the chat so that people can see some of the tutorials and example code that we have where they can start doing that to access Hemi today.
This is exciting, and please drop the link so that we can share it also to the community. And I think, 402 getaway, I think that's super interesting, and I think we could run like a live coding session, actually leveraging the getaway with maybe even delegating some specific kind of action to the agents that might be useful. So, and this is a question to both, right? So for developers and builders and founders hearing us, so what does this kind of partnership mean in practice? You can start, EG or Max, as you want.
Yeah, I can start. For us, there's the JSON RPC is just the bare minimum that people need to start getting access to any new network. And there's going to be more indexing services and higher level APIs and services built on Hemi as that ecosystem continues to grow. I should mention that Max and the team had me on their midweek with Max call, where I get a view into the Hemi ecosystem that's continuing to grow. And you see all of the different projects and developments that are happening in that space. When you start thinking about what people are going to need to build in that ecosystem, there's a lot more that goes into it besides just JSON RPC. And DIN hopefully will help be a way that people discover and consume those new services too.
Yeah, we're definitely excited to work on some of the more Bitcoin-centric things, exposing more of that to end users, developers want to consume, that Bitcoin data, whether that's for the UI that they're building and they want, real-time Bitcoin data through DIN as well or something like that. So there's a lot of exciting integrations. I'd say from a developer perspective, we have tons of ecosystem projects and we started out just running our own RPC infrastructure. And, we're developers, we don't want to be, the DevOps guys 24/7 on maintaining RPCs. So it's nice having partners like DIN who can have reliable infrastructure that we don't have to run, that we can just point people to and say, they've got it taken care of, focus on your app, we'll focus on the protocol, and take this RPC thing, make it reliable, and just have a third party handle that very in a scalable way.
Yeah, exciting. And I think I'm also like thinking about specific like use case that people could kind of like start kind of like hitting to build. Like what do you think are those initial kind of like experiments or use cases you would recommend devs or builder or founder on MetaMask trying now with Hemi, Max?
Yeah, I'd say kind of two directions. If you want to build more Bitcoin native stuff, you could do something like a non-custodial Bitcoin MEV marketplace, or like a non-custodial order book Bitcoin DEX. And so HVM today, it has basically precompiles that give you access to different Bitcoin data that you can query. And then we have a library called the Hemi Bitcoin Kit, or HBK, that's built on top of those, that makes it easy to use for Solidity developers. So you don't have to do like low-level precompile calls and data parsing and all that. Or people who want to build more in the just completely familiar with Solidity environment, just working with ERCs, ERC20s the way you know them. Then you can use Hemi BTC, which is the tunneled representation of Bitcoin on the Hemi network. And you can build apps that behave just like they do on any other EVM, but they're working with Bitcoin that can be natively settled back to the Bitcoin L1.
Nice. I think I really appreciate the kind of like the BTC kind of like use case. I think that would be also attract a lot of like interesting developers. And Max Max, EG on your side, like in general, like bigger DIN use case that you see being built, or also like use cases that can be built specifically to Hemi, like just giving like an overview so that we give some kind of like overview of the space of what people can unleash with DIN.
Yeah. Really, it's testing how generalized our design has been with DIN, where when you look at the components that make DIN work, the first and most important thing is the on-chain registry. And we initially viewed that as a registry of services and service providers. And it was specifically starting with RPC, and then it was expanding to like non-RPC API services and service providers. There's the ERC 8004 specification that's now like a registry for agents on Ethereum. And there's a little bit of an overlap in that. Like, what's the difference between an agent registry and a service registry when you have something like MCP sitting in front of data that is making it accessible to agents? And so we're working on understanding the difference in our design and that specification, and how to integrate those two things together to really enable a lot of the agentic development patterns that we're now seeing. So that's one thing. And then the other thing is we've built out a network of like really performant and high quality network tests that are able to test RPC endpoints to determine like what's the consistency of this endpoint, what's the quality of the data, what's the latency. And we use that to score different providers so that when somebody starts using a new Hemi provider that registers and says, I can serve Hemi RPC, relative to the current one you're using or to other ones that are available, which one you want to use on the marketplace, and trying to generalize that to be applicable to testing other types of APIs and maybe agent behaviors.
Nice. And Max, I think we have a question here in the chat. I will bring it up. This is really cool, Max. I have a question concerning assets. Would you like to be able to receive, say, Bitcoins using EVM address, like using the direction?
Yeah, exactly. So Hemi, basically the same EVM environment you're already familiar with, either as a developer or a user. But now you can interact with Bitcoin, receive Bitcoin, send Bitcoin. It is, of course, happening on the L2. So it's, you're never going to be able to receive like native Bitcoin on Bitcoin L1 with an EVM address, right? There's just no way to make the protocol do that. But basically you have the same Ethereum-like experience, but you're interacting with Bitcoin on an L2. You can program with it in Solidity. And so as a user, you just have your MetaMask wallet and you see Bitcoin come into it, and you can send Bitcoin to another EVM address. Or as a developer, you can either use the ERC20 representation of Bitcoin, the Hemi BTC, or you can build applications that do interact with it more natively, and those would be using native Bitcoin addresses instead of EVM addresses in that case.
Nice. Thanks for answering the question, and thanks for also like sending those questions our way. Those are also useful to kind of like break up a bit the flow. So I think like the next section is a bit on interop and kind of like future chain. Again, like to Max, sorry for bombarding you with questions, but I want to ask you kind of like you describe Amy as treating BTC and Ethereum as super network, right? So first, what does kind of like this extending the network means, and do you expect also many other chains, or what kind of like is the future look like?
That's a great question. Right now we're focused on Bitcoin and Ethereum because there's combining those two is enough of a challenge, right? We did sort of, the architecture that we built is modular, and so it's hard to go from being an L2 to one L1 to being an L2 to two L1s. But once you go from 1 to 2, going from 2 to 3 is less of a challenge. There are some, because it is a deeper like protocol level integration. It's not like a lightweight interop protocol that's sending zk proofs back and forth or something like that. And so the more L1s you integrate, or other L2s, but sort of as a network on top of that in some way with more of a direct protocol integration, the more complex the protocol gets, and the more you have to update when any of the underlying networks update. Any of them doing a hard fork means it's a hard fork for your network. So the sort of the long-term vision is to take that same architecture, but then with something that we call Chain Builder, which is our idea for doing a bunch of L3s, L4s on top of Hemi. And so you'd have Chain Builder, you have the Hemi L2, you'd have L3s that have access to all of the assets and Bitcoin data that Hemi has, both from Ethereum and Bitcoin. But then you could also extend that architecture, so you could have an L3 that is a L3 to Hemi on one side, and then something like, say, Solana or Aptos or Sui or whatever on the other side. So sort of extending that out, but through like a tree of chains, rather than trying to do it all in the base L2 protocol.
Yeah, it makes sense, the extension. And I think this is a follow-up on the multi-chain EG. I think Dean has been also supporting strongly the ecosystem around multi-chain and multi kind of like chains pairs. How the future look like also on the Dean side around multi-providers?
Yeah, it's been trying to diversify our capabilities, software stack, and expertise beyond focusing on EVM. Like we've done a little bit of that, like Solana being the probably biggest example where we started to branch out from just focusing on EVM. And then whenever we work with a team like Hemi, where there's a dependency for us to also support some like Bitcoin infrastructure and understand some of the things that we need to add. So for instance, we've added some support for the Bitcoin API and some of the APIs to consume various aspects of like Bitcoin infrastructure data. And that allows us to generalize some of the things that we had that were, for instance, JSON RPC focused to something that's more like a RESTful API that then allows us to add some other things that had been gated on that dependency in some of our systems, like our proxy and routing components. Another one that people have asked for is generalizing like our WebSocket support. So for any new networks that we add, we can support WebSockets because that's very important to people that are trying to maintain that really snappy, low latency user experience, whether it's push notifications to apps built on top of that, or some data pipeline that's using that as the way to consume data rather than polling for updates.
Sounds good. Thanks, EG. And I think we are almost here on time. We have one last question from Luigi. Thanks so much also for asking those. I mean, we kind of like understood, right? It connects Bitcoin to Ethereum in one super network. So should the user be able to receive BTC and ETC with a single Hemi wallet address? I feel like it's some sort of kind of like omni-chain account, but can you clarify a bit, Max, here?
Yeah, for sure. So from the user experience, you just have one EVM address. It's a EVM address on the Hemi network. And then just like you can receive both, USDC and USDT and ETH to your Ethereum wallet, you can now receive Hemi BTC, the Hemi L2 version of ETH, any other ETH ecosystem stablecoins, whatever, And then in the future, also, we're going to be bringing over ordinals, runes, BRC20s from the Bitcoin ecosystem. And all of that is all under one single EVM address. And we're looking forward to integrating deep with MetaMask to get more native support and like better usability around those sort of different versions of assets and being able to integrate all those into one wallet. And I see he's rushing through the white paper, so yeah, it's a little bit long, but
5 pages, yeah, long read. Good weekend read. I think I usually had one question here.
Yeah, I have a question for EG. Like we talked about the X402, right? Like we have currently seeing a lot of trend around like X402, and we have seen grown a lot. How much growth have you seen with the X402 API support usage on the DIN side? Because I remember like we supported it back like 3 weeks back, 3 to 4 weeks back.
Yeah. We've seen a lot of interest, but not a whole lot of consumption on that endpoint yet. Like the thing, one, like that huge amount of interest in X402 really just started to pick up in the last week. And people are now trying to discover like what's out there. And we've gotten more inquiries from people that are asking how they can use that, whether it's an existing Infura customers or just people that have found it through some of the documentation that we have. We're not actually registered on the X402 like Bazaar listing where it lists all of the different services there. So that's actually one of the things that we're going to do is put our endpoint in there so that people can quickly discover it better and start using it. So hopefully in the next week or so, we'll see a lot more usage on that endpoint.
I think thanks for clearing that. My next question was gonna be same only, like have we listed on like any discovery services or not?
Yeah, even so.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, go for it.
Sorry, was it, have we listed on any other discovery services? No, that's what we're starting with the Bazaar protocol. And then we've been more working with some other integrations with people that are running like privacy preserving gateways that there's a couple of those out there, like All Nodes runs one, or our friends at 1RPC run another. And those use just like a static list of some RPC providers on the back end, but trying to get them to leverage DIN as the way that they can get access to dozens of those providers for the networks that they already support, and also allow them to increase the rate limits or like the default level of like quotas that people would access there by supporting X402 with the gateway implementation that we have.
Sounds good. Also, on a side note, I definitely recommend for people to check the 402 Git book. Putting here the link. And I think like this morning I was checking out, I think right now we surpassed the 200 million agent 402 transaction volume between agent to agent. Very interesting. And I think like this is the past, like I think like a week and a half is actually quite impressive what is happening. But I think like we should definitely do a specific live coding session with the gateway that you mentioned, EG, and the permission side. Again, Max, thank you so much also for joining. Thank you so much also, G. I'm excited to see also like what's coming next around the kind of like Dean and Amy, like how we work around consumption and use case that will be built together, and looking forward for the future too. So thank you so much for coming.
Awesome. Thanks so much for having me.
Sounds great. Thanks, guys.
Awesome. Pleasure. Okay, let's do it. We are almost on time here, Ayush. I think like we have our online Yash video right now that we want to kind of like play. Let's do it. So just to give a context, everyone, we launched the Builder Hub. And we're super excited for every builder founder to ask questions, but most important also like to give insight what they're building. And this is kind of like on everything home for every builder in the space, not just MetaMask related, linear related, anything related to building and deploying and debugging. So let's hear Yash explaining and announcing the launch here.
Hello everyone and welcome to the MetaMask Builder Hub, a new home for the global developer community. At MetaMask, we have always believed that the most powerful ideas come from builders like you and the innovators that push the boundaries of what's possible in Web3. And that's why we are launching this new Builder Hub, a space built by developers for developers. So what exactly is this Builder Hub? Let's find out. So it's like a central meeting place for anybody in the entire Web3 ecosystem. You just need to go to builder.metamask.io and you can actually browse through everything what's possible in our Builder Hub. It's basically a discussion forum and you'll feel right at home once you just go through it and just get used to it in like 5-10 minutes mostly. So the goal is simple from our side. We want to bring the developers, builders, and discuss ideas, solutions, and openly collaborate across the whole Web3 stack. And as the MetaMask stack grows, it continues to evolve as well. So over here, you can just find the announcements of what we are releasing, some tutorials from our team as well as the community as well, developer discussion across anything, whatever you want to discuss about architecture, about new possible solutions, every single thing you can just write out, come over here and discuss. And definitely our SDKs as well. Coming to MetaMask SDK, embedded wallets or smart accounts, you can ask anything, whatever you are facing right now or you want to learn more about, or just build something new, something cool. So if you come over here, for example, you see inside the embedded wallets, there are a lot of people already asking a ton of questions regularly, and it's very active out there. And if you don't find any particular answer to your question, you can always go ahead and create a new topic of whatever you want to. Right? So this is a new home, and we really want us to grow this alongside you all, and we have big plans for it. So come over and just enjoy this new Builder Hub.
Great. This music, I need to say, was epic, and I think we're very excited for obviously the Builder Hub launching, but also nurturing with kind of like new content, but also guides, tutorials, and the entire idea is also like if you're building. If you are also sharing your journey, building a specific like experience, you can you can document this, right? And I think this will also be an opportunity for everybody to kind of like show what they're building, documenting, and even having a door to this community call, right? Because the entire idea is showing what is possible with both both our product, but also like our ecosystem partner products. I think we're good to go. We have, I think, one latest slide here. Ayush, I think like you wanna probably like get the first one. You've been judging for a long time, and there is some updates here.
Yeah. So I think like we had questions like when is the result announcement? I would say we can also announce it on the Builder Hub because there is an announcement section. So you never know. But yeah, results will be out like next week. So you can keep an eye out on the like MetaMask dev handle on X and also on the Builder Hub.
Nice. So this is coming. If you're also like looking forward for more hackathon, we're also like planning more. There is a lot of like things in the work as backlog. We're also like planning some IRL presence. So if you're planning Dev Connect, hacking at It Global or any hacker houses, Edge Lana, there is a lot of pop-up city happening right now. Definitely like feel free to join our Builder Night in Buenos Aires. This will be the 17th. We also share more information. And we will have different kind of like panels and technical debates around the infra payment stable. So different things are happening. So that would be exciting. And then we're prepping for our Solana breakpoint activation. So if you're planning to be in Abu Dhabi in December, we're looking forward to also host you with another Builder Night. This will be a Solana specific edition. We're planning a lot of strong different partners. There is different announcement on the Solana side for developers happening soon. So also stay tuned. Yeah, anything I'm missing here, Ayush?
Not really. I just want to appreciate like the builders who took part in the Smart Accounts Hackathon. I really enjoyed like looking at the projects, how well they have like used the delegations. Like few of the projects like literally blew my mind. And I think I posted in our like chats as well. Like these are the crazy good projects that we have seen this time. And I think like we are really looking at like good projects now. So the growth is really good.
Exciting, yes. And Luci, thanks so much for being active today. You know, definitely you want to check it out, the 402 resources. A lot of buzz, but also like a lot of like great dApps starting to adopt both A004 and the 402 for payment gateway around agents. And we should definitely like now we kind of like plan this, we kind of like brainstorm this, but in this call we need to do some kind of like proof of live coding, and yeah, we definitely need to host a session, a vibe coding session around 402. Maybe we can invite also some of those folks that already planned and already support 402 payments. So thanks so much also for giving this input. And this is why also we're doing these calls, because it's great to also like hear those comments, questions, and interaction. Sounds good. So I think we are a couple of minutes late. We were thinking that we were finishing earlier, but as always, we're always finishing late. Thanks so much, everyone, for listening, for asking questions. Again, it's been a pleasure. End of the month, MetaMask Community Call. There is a lot of things that we can cover. And if you're on the ground, come say hi. If you're on Crypto Twitter, our DMs are always open. And any specific session that you liked, Ayush, before we're closing up?
I like the Hemi one, like got to know a lot of new things. So I think like someone
Nice.
also commented like they have got a good paper read for the weekend. I
Mm-hmm.
think it's same for us, and
Oh, yeah.
definitely will come up with some live streaming for like X402
Nice.
session.
Yes. It's definitely a good weekend read. I definitely like enjoy your light demo around 7715. But I also feel, you know, Gelato is also like shipping a lot, and the fact that you can actually build and integrate smart accounts with bundlers is very powerful. So again, thanks so much, everyone, and also like big shout out to everyone that was making this community call possible, from coordination to planning. A lot of people in the background planning also the next one. So thanks so much, everyone, and I see you next month.